On today's episode, we had Ruth Ratliff, and she is a sound therapist. She does sound healing with sound bowls. She helps people with their voice, activating their voice, healing with their voice. And we just had such a really great conversation about frequency and sound and how powerful it is.
Yeah, and she had some really great insights because I think sometimes it takes a minute for us to click how sound can heal. But just speaking of the voice and how your frequency, she did a sound bath.
Yes, she did.
Which was delightful and lovely. So it was really enjoyable, informative way to really understand sound is easy healing.
Yeah, so grab your earbuds, get comfortable, and listen to this amazing podcast on sound healing.
Welcome to the Magical Holistic Healing Arts Podcast, where you learn how to raise your vibe, explore your magic, and embody your authentic power. I'm Lyn Hicks.
I'm Erica Hicks.
And we're the mother-daughter duo inspiring transformation through holistic lifestyle and conscious living.
We bring water to the conversation because no one else is. We know hydrogen-rich water is the key to longevity and vitality. Life's about flowing, so this is the easiest way to upgrade your health and mindset. High Vibe Water. Join our revolution and new paradigm biz at the Magical Holistic Healing Arts Podcast.wordpress.com. Cheers. Hydrate your life with us. Today we welcome Ruth Ratliff. She is a sound therapist. I'm going to let her take it away and ask Ruth, what is your magical art?
Magical art is, as you said, sound therapy. And sound therapy encompasses a lot of different layers of sound. One of them being the voice, which is the one that I focus on because I was a singer. I am a trained singer, performer for many years, and then I was a voice teacher for 20 years. And it just felt like a natural progression after I was kind of done with voice teaching to get into this beautiful modality, which lends itself so wonderfully to me using all of the things that I learned as a musician and as a vocalist and as a teacher of voice as well. So it's been a real blessing for me.
I love that.
Yes.
I took a class, a couple years ago. And so maybe just share a little bit. I learned so much about frequency and voice then. And it really kind of pulled in understanding sound healing and our sound and all of that. So maybe you could just open that up for some of our listeners.
Okay, yep, that's a big, wide topic, but let's see now. Well, I'll start by saying, basically, we're surrounded by sound, vibration, frequency, every minute of every day. Some of those sounds are sort of therapeutic and good for us, and others are not. They're incongruent with who we are. Basically, we are vibration as well. Your floor is vibrating, the air is vibrating, and we vibrate. And we have, apparently we are made up of many, many different frequencies, subtle frequencies. And those subtle frequencies, if bombarded by sound that is incongruent with our resonant vibration, can get us out of vibration or, sort of rearrange those frequencies, because sound literally can reform matter. And sound is a vibration that travels through air, liquids, solids, and through you. And it has the capacity actually to shift us biologically as well as spiritually. And that's a big piece of what I love about doing this work is that, that whole thing about raising your vibration. It literally can get you into a state of what they call heart-brain coherence, which gives you a much more resilient way of dealing with life's ups and downs. We could all use that, a little more of that. And I've noticed a lot of people have communicated to me after their sessions, whether it be an individual or group session, that they see departed family members coming to them. They hear voices of friends, family that have, passed on. They have mystical experiences. And I don't know, I can't explain it, except that my theory is that because we are vibration, at our core, we're like a waveform, right? We're of the universe, that when we are subjected to these therapeutic vibrations that realign our resonant vibration and raise our resonant vibration, this can allow for us to be, as if you're going to use up and down, to be lifted up to the ethers a little bit, right? So that the other beings and departed, family members or friends can actually, don't have to lower their vibration so much. I don't know. It's just a theory. Who knows? But whatever it is, I think it's, whether that's it or not, I think it's fascinating. And what I also love is the way people feel when they get off the table. I do one-on-ones on a massage table. I put bowls on or around the body. And then I also do group offerings as well, where people rely on mats or in the yoga hammocks around me as well while I play the bowls. And that, they always say they feel so much lighter, like a load has been lifted. And I tell them that it's probably because the sound literally has the capability of triggering the release of trapped, held constrictions, of emotional constrictions from trauma or whatever in the body. And that's very gratifying for me, of course, because I want to make people feel better. And it's always wonderful to hear that from folks.
No, well, I remember we watched sound being played on, I guess, plates or water, and just the whole sacred geometry, and that our voice is really sending out as well.
The whole study of cymatics has really been eye-opening, to say the least, for a lot of us about the effects of sound on matter, and how sound literally forms itself in these beautiful sacred geometric patterns that mirror the underlying code that is common to everything in nature. From our DNA to the spiral of our DNA to the spiral of our galaxies to the shape of a seashell, the ratio, the Fibonacci ratio of the flowers of the human body, of a seashell. So there's this framework, as it were, this guide, sort of a geometric guide for life, and sound reflects that. And that's what it's doing literally in your body. You've seen drops of water, right, with the shapes, the beautiful cymatic patterns, the mandalas. Well, that's what's happening on the membranes of your cells and in the intercellular fluid in between the molecules of your body. It's reorganizing. It's reorganizing you at the cellular level, the molecular level. And it's kind of interesting to think of us as being a being that can be reorganized in that way, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Well, yeah, and the water, like now that I'm thinking about it, we're in the water business, but the water was really what showed how these geometric patterns, as they played music or someone spoke. So really the water is that transmuter inside your body that's supporting those frequencies to flow in and out of the cells and make those patterns, which that's a new aha for me.
Yes. Water is sacred.
Yes, it is. And what I keep thinking of too is like Joe Dispenza, just like Abraham Hicks, all these people that talk about meditation and how they're literally using vibration of thought to change matter, where like you're saying, like the sounds are changing matter of that vibration. And so I think it is such a cool concept, and definitely like a huge door that is opening in our, reality here on this planet. And I definitely think we've used this type of technology in the past. I mean, the pyramids, the Atlanteans, whatever you want to think of. But yeah, it just sounds like sound is such a healing thing that we're just like scratching the surface of.
Absolutely, Erica. Very well said. Yeah, and there's evidence of the Egyptians using sound for healing and for, I mean, some people think they moved the blocks to build the pyramids with sound, to levitate them, right? That makes more sense to me than a group of guys hauling them with ropes. I'm sorry. I mean, come on. Anyway, yeah, but them and of course, in the ancient Egyptians, the Hindus, in India. I mean, India, the sound, that's where I would say it's almost like the cradle of sound therapy is in India, really, with all of the beautiful mantra and the chanting. And each of those chants with the consonants and the words have a specific meaning and a specific way of touching certain points in your mouth to activate you. I know, that's how I just found that out. I was working with an Ayurvedic practitioner a little while ago and she told me that. I was like, wow. But the voice, these are beautiful. Don't get me wrong, all the sonic instruments, I love them. But your voice is your superpower, and your voice literally vibrates you from the inside out, and it's vibrations that are yours. As I say, they're custom made just for you. So we're treating ourselves whenever you tone, chant, hum, sing, even making just primal sounds, organic primal sounds. That's a big thing that I help people with now, where I work them through just being able to grunt or moan, and allow the body to express itself through the voice. People don't realize what an incredible connection that is, and what a healing tool that they carry with them. That's free, totally accessible.
Yeah.
No, and I like that about the voice, because I
Yeah.
think, kind words go and heal well beyond the one person and then that person.
Oh, yeah.
And our voices, really do make a difference in everything we do. And it's something that, especially women, we're still kind of learning how to be vocal with our truth. Maybe not as much your generation. I don't know. Is it?
I don't think so. But I see what you're saying, that perspective of it. Yeah. Yeah.
In a positive way.
Well, I just think of like with kids, like be quiet or, shut up. You tell the kids to be quiet. And yeah, it's a young age that we I feel like, quiet our voice, because it's just what you do. You're in school, you have to listen to the teacher, all these things. And so, yeah, that primal, helping people with their primal voice, I think is really interesting. Because unless you have kids too, like babies, like you're making weird noises, maybe a dog too.
No, definitely. That's a big piece of it too, is when, we're trying to civilize and socialize our children. And in doing so, you don't realize it. Of course, it's not, deliberate, but we are literally shutting down that very organic, primal part of us, that old brain limbic system. That basically, that's like whenever you're in fight or flight, that's what it's activated, and it's, "Lah!" That's the one that just lets it go. But we become embarrassed and very self-conscious of the sounds that we make, because they're not like socially acceptable. So that carries over to telling, the right brain, no, you can't do this. And, that's what we want. We want to activate that right brain, because that's our creative side. Because sound, organic sound without words, can heal and activate that right brain, that part of us that needs to make sound, make conscious sound to release, to affirm, We lost our little guy, 14 and a half year old dachshund, 5 months ago, and I'll tell you, my husband and I, we couldn't have held it back if we wanted to. The wailing, you hear about the wailing wall and women keening, to grieve. Exactly that. Oh my gosh. And if we had tried to hold that back, I can't imagine the damage that we would have done to our body and our psyche and our biofield.
Oh, that's an excellent way to bring it around, because we do often have those sadness or even really happy feelings.
Right.
And you can't be like, yeah, you watch that or cry like, oh, I can't cry now, I'm going into a meeting. And it circles inside you anyway, grief and extreme joy. And at some point it must come out, because we are beings that need to express and share through sound. And I really like the way you put that. And I also wanted to say, I teach women a lot of times the pleasure sounds. And it's so funny how everyone's weirded out. I mean, we even did a YouTube
Yeah, mini.
a mini on like the ha sound with pleasure. And I'm like the people are comfortable with. But anything from there, ha, and like, they sound kind of sensual and sexual, but that brings that vagus nerve and that message to your brain. I'm safe. I can go in parasympathetic. I can feel and vibrate joy and that frequency like through all my bones. But it's that not speaking.
It's the stigma of making, orgasmic sounds. But those are very primal sounds, and they're not always sexually, identified. But definitely, I think people get very, they're shut down in that regard. And it's like your body wants that, though. I talk about, putting your hands on your body in different places and asking it, just being quiet and asking it, what does it want to tell me today? How do I feel today? What's going on inside of me today? Do we ever ask ourselves this? Hardly, right? And would I like to make some comfort sounds, right? Like you say, to activate the vagus nerve for the vagal tone, to get into rest and digest. Even just allowing yourself to sigh. And you're relaxing as I'm saying that.
I know, right? I can feel. I took a deep breath.
Yeah, well, I know in my classes I crack up because people start yawning. But that's because they finally get to their parasympathetic and you're tired. You realize, wow, I'm really kind of tired.
I know.
And I'm like, don't worry if you yawn. It means that my class is working.
Yeah.
But I like that, asking yourself.
Yeah. Well, and then
and touching, it being a whole sensual experience of really getting to know yourself and your being and your sounds and just all of it. We're so really, and I call it the cartoon bubble. We're all up in the words.
The organic sound is, it activates, like you said, activates that parasympathetic branch. And because the words are too logical, we start getting more left-brained when we add words. When singing is wonderful, but I feel that the primal sound is definitely more therapeutic, can be.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Awesome. Well, I know Ruth was going to do a little sound healing for us. So would you like to indulge us in some frequency?
I would love to do that. And for our listeners, I just wanted to say that the sound through Zoom with all of the sound reinforcement is a little so just bear with me if there's any funny sounds, but I do recommend, if you can, to wear either earbuds or headphones to listen to it, because that's the best listening experience, and to listen on a desktop rather than an iPhone or an Android as well. But if that's all you have, and it's no problem. So get into a nice comfy comfy position if you'd like to snuggle down in your chair.
Hmm.
And I invite you now to just have a background awareness of your breath. You don't have to do anything. Just observe. We've all heard about being the observer, right? Just observe. And feel the breath as it travels down, opening up your belly, your back, your chest. Feel your body on the chair. Sinking down into the chair, deeper and deeper. And start now to feel your breath again as before. Just start to notice it again, moving in and out, ebb and flow, the rise and fall of your chest and your back and your belly. And you can let that breath out on a sigh if you'd like. And start to feel yourself in the space of the room, the pressure of your body on the chair, your feet firmly on the floor.
That was nice.
That was really nice. I loved that. It was so gentle.
But the one sound though, I felt like it was like cleaning me out.
The gong.
No, not the gong.
I know. I should have it on a table so you can see it. That's my newest acquisition.
Ooh, I mean, I liked the gong, but I think it was like the rainmaker.
Oh, the rain.
I don't know. That felt like it was like scrubbing me.
Stick, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that sound. Yeah, it's like scouring you or something, right?
Yeah. It was definitely, it felt like that for me.
No, and then your voice just brought like a smile to me.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden now it was like, oh, the sweetness.
I know, I always wonder, like, are you just guided in the moment to do these kinds of things? Do you like practice this, like, as, I don't know, a set, I guess you'd call it?
Well, I guess I have kind of, I guess I have like a framework that I use. I like to use certain frequencies like the larger bowls to kind of start to ground you first at the beginning. And then I start doing different intervals to whether it's like I'm called to do it. I think I know it is very intuitive in the moment, even though I have a framework that I kind of follow in general, because there are certain sounds like the metal bowls I feel are very grounding, and I feel like the crystals, because this is quartz crystal, and I have these bowls that are optically pure, clear quartz, and they're such a beautiful clarity of sound. But quartz, it's interesting, quartz, they used to grow computer chips in these as crucibles in the 80s, and then I guess on the way to the dumpster somebody hit one and went, ooh, that's pretty. I don't know, but they used to throw them out. But silica quartz has a properties, it's called, and I never know if I'm pronouncing this word right or not, but piezoelectric effects, meaning that it can hold and transmit energy, and some people believe, or if it's been proven yet, I'm not sure, that it can actually amplify energy as well. That's why they use it in electrical energy. That's why they use it in computer chips and in watches. So we're electrical beings, right? And if my thoughts, which are frequency, whatever, say energy, right, moves through that quartz to my clients, right, who are also beings of energy, electricity, electromagnetism, right? It just kind of seems like that works to me, that these can facilitate that connection.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, and I think it's just so lovely that you can, people feel like they have to do things to heal. They have to do to process. They have to dig in. And there's many ways to do things, and that's one. But I've always, when I've done sound baths and just laid on the floor, gotten treatments of sound healing, you don't have to do anything but relax. And I think it's powerful for us to realize that alignment, healing, all those things can come without all this digging and process and I have to, should, would, could. A lot of times just in relaxing and allowing the frequency.
Listening to your inner voice, listening to your body. Our bodies are talking to us all the time about things that we can do for it to foster health and wellness.
Yes.
I mean, your stomach ache when you eat something, it's talking to you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that to realize that healing is as simple as anything else. It's not this, I don't know, maybe it's because of our pill society or quick remedy. Well, sound healing's a quick remedy.
Well, it's non-invasive, right? There are no side effects to this. I mean, for the most part, there are some people that we don't recommend take sound therapy, and those are people with seizure conditions or sound-induced migraines, or like, say, in the first trimester of pregnancy, just to be on the safe side. But for everybody else, it's pretty, if it gives, sometimes it gives people a little bit of a headache, because because it's very powerful. The bowls can be really powerful, especially in person. But other than that, it clears up after a while, and you can.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that to realize that healing is as simple as anything else. It's not this, I don't know, maybe it's because of our pill society or quick remedy. Well, sound healing's a quick remedy.
It's non-invasive, right? There are no side effects to this. I mean, for the most part, there are some people that we don't recommend take sound therapy, and those are people with seizure conditions or sound-induced migraines, or like, say, in the first trimester of pregnancy, just to be on the safe side. But for everybody else, it's pretty, if it gives, sometimes it gives people a little bit of a headache, because because it's very powerful. The bowls can be really powerful, especially in person. But other than that, it clears up after a while, and you can just do your own grounding. I mean, your voice is innervated by the vagus nerve. Hello, it goes down to all your organ systems. All you got to do is just hum or tone, or just a sound that I like to make with people. They say is very effective is the oo sound with a V, voo, V-O-O. Voo. Help me, I swear to God, it cured me of fear of flying. I was doing that on a flight. In fact, I was coming out to Colorado a few years back, and for a marketing seminar. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this now. And I had the earbuds in with the guided meditation. You are safe. The plane is safe. While I'm doing voo. And I had tears of joy streaming down my face on takeoff because I wasn't freaking out into a full-blown panic attack. And I kept myself at this kind of, maintenance level there and back. And then the next time I flew, it was so much better. Because it was amazing to me that was that effective.
Yeah, that's huge.
That is huge.
Yes, really huge.
All you did was tone and use your voice, which voo is very grounding to me.
Didn't take tranquilizers, which I would have normally done. Where's my Xanax?
Which people do.
Yeah, but to know that there's a tool, like you said in the beginning, you have your own tool with your voice. And, thus the Hindus and their chanting. And, I love church singing, or when we sing or Christmas carol together. Like, when a bunch of people are singing, like, that is so exciting and fun to me. And it's really right there. You don't have to do anything for it.
Mm-hmm. I'm in a church. My husband's music director of 2 churches, and one of them has a choir, and I'm in the choir. I'm definitely trying to keep that piece of me going, because I enjoy it so much. It's just, there's something very special when people make music together and use their voices together. You entrain, it's the concept of entrainment, which is you sync up with one another. Literally, the rhythms, when women are together, they menstruate together, right? It's the same thing.
It's funny because we do a hue sound in our spiritual study, and it's funny because it always starts out that everyone's like, oh, and by the third one it entrains into this most beautiful sound, all the voices, like you were saying, and that's what it.
Or even I'm thinking like groupthink, like when you're out and you do something that you probably wouldn't do just because everyone else is doing it or whatever, like that frequency of thought can be entrainment too.
Absolutely. But what do they say? Birds of a feather flock together. You entrain to one another's vibration.
Yeah, so
Well, you know what? These were great circles of
I
conversation we
know.
had, and bringing together the sound and the voice in very unique ways, and learning. You know, it's just so powerful. You know, people are like, oh, I know that, but it's like, no, do you know?
Well, I was gonna say that too before we ended. Like frequency and vibration, it's kind of hard to like understand in some essences, but when you think of like your voice or like hearing the sound bowls and connecting it to the somatics and seeing the form that sound's making, it does bring it more into, I think, like a conceptual person.
And I think it's a paradigmal, if that's a word, type of shift, because we're expanding our consciousness when we learn about something like cymatics. That blew my mind. And yet when I saw those cymatic patterns and learned more about it, I expanded my consciousness. I raised my vibration with that knowledge. So every time, like you say, you're tying it all in, it's opening up your vista even more. It's allowing your sight to become even more, of a world view, of a universal view, I should say.
Yes, incredible.
Yeah.
Well, are there any last nuggets you want to leave our listeners, Ruth, before we end the episode?
Well, I don't know if people are familiar with Edgar Cayce. He was called the Sleeping Prophet in the 30s and the 40s. He was quite amazing. He healed so many people and made a lot of predictions. But one of his predictions was that sound and music will be the medicine of the future. And it's coming. I do believe it is coming. I see it all the time. There's more and more new research.
Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank
wisdom and your sound healing.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. What a pleasure to be here with you today and to see you.